Good day. Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ died and he rose again. Let's get into it. Okay. So the 1994-95 Boston Celtics. They were a team in transition, obviously. Obviously coming off the Bird Mikhail Parrish era. Bird had retired in 1992. Mikhail retired in 1993. Robert Parrish, Bird retired in 92. Mikhail in 93. Reggie Lewis tragically passed away in the summer of 1993. And Robert Parrish left in free agency to the Charlotte Hornets. Okay. And so you were left with a very young, inexperienced roster, okay? And they were looking for a superstar to come in and help them, okay? And their solution was 34-year-old Dominique Wilkins, okay? 34-year-old Dominique Wilkins, okay? And he had just averaged, 29 points with the Clippers, with the Clippers, the previous year. Got traded mid-season to the Hawks. Okay, got traded mid-season to the Hawks. Got traded mid-season to the Clippers midway through the 93-94 season. Okay, so he still averaged about 29 points for the season. Believe it or not, Larry Bird was actually in the front office with the Celtics at that time. Okay, and Bird said when he went into the front office, his opinions were either muted or they were either ignored. Okay, and so when the Celtics signed Dominique Wilkins, which Bird was not a huge fan of, by the way, he found out the same way that the fans did. Okay. On the news, the decision, he says, Bird says the decision wasn't collaborative, strategic, and Dominique Wilkins, I don't know, collaborative, strategic. It wasn't a Celtic move. Bird felt like they made an error in signing Dominique Wilkins. Okay. Here's what Larry Bird had to say. Larry Bird said Dominique wasn't a Celtics kind of player. A true Celtic is a guy who is willing to do everything for the team. Nique was always a guy. Nique was always one of those guys who wanted to do it all himself. Okay. You can't win that way. Okay. And so Wilkins, who was 34 at the time, turned 35 during the season. They say he didn't fit the Celtics mold. Confident, flashy, dominant. Okay. Larry Bird also went on to say the lift was gone, the lateral quickness was gone, and his instincts had faded. The instincts were dulled. Okay. And Dominique Wilkins, Bird also says he was never a player who bought into the team first system. Okay. Or at least in the way that the Boston way required. Okay. So obviously signing a 34-year-old Wilkins who had lost speed, explosive ability, quickness, stamina. Okay. Rick Fox was actually on that team. Yeah, Rick Fox was actually on that team. Yeah, so I'm gonna actually play you a few segments back to back because Rick Fox was talking about Rick Pitino. Then Dominique Wilkins describes his experience playing for the Boston Celtics. And needless to say, Dominique Wilkins did not get along with Chris Ford. He and Chris Ford did not get along. So,
give me some more. Anybody else going to be forthcoming? You and I, coach. Wouldn't have had. I didn't have the chance to in Boston when he came in. Basically, got rid of everybody on that team. But to me, I don't think his style fit in the pros.
Oh, that was deep.
Yeah, man.
Rick Pitino.
I was going to play for Rick.
It was
going to play for Rick.
For me. It was Chris Ford.
You would not want to play for Chris
ever again.
Oh, ever again. We were both on that team. Man, we were both on.
I played for some tough. I played for some tough coaches.
You might want to re-answer your question.
Oh yeah, I played for some tough coaches, right? But I don't know what you call Chris Ford.
Yeah,
I mean, some of the stuff that he would say to players, it wasn't even basketball cursing out. You know what I'm saying? He just said stuff almost like about your family. You know, it was tough, man. And it was many times that he and Rick could tell you, I wanted to choke him a couple of times. I mean, that's how bad it got.
I left a couple.
But and as bad as it got, I remember him telling me, right before we went to playoff, and he had one of the assistant coaches come up and tell me, he said, tell Nique that he got to get this team ready for the playoffs. We're counting on him. Now, he hadn't played me for like 15 games. He would pay me 2 or 3 minutes and take me out. That was his way of paying me back. And then he says, you got to get the team ready to play. And I said to him, I won't tell you exactly what I said, but I told him, all due respect, I'll play hard because I'm a player. I'm a competitor. I'm going to do whatever I can do for win. I said, don't ever say anything to me the rest of the year.
Why don't you say what you said? We can put it on Twitter.
I said, I hate you.
Forget you. Okay.
That's what I said.
Yes.
But, man, that's the worst guy I've ever played for.
Okay, I'm going to call a move on.
Oh man, some of these stories the NBA players have are absolutely gold. Okay, some of these stories that NBA players have are absolutely gold. Okay, right? Okay, so you heard Rick Fox saying he didn't have the chance to play for Rick Pitino when he came in. And you heard Rick Fox. To me, I just don't think Rick Pitino's style ever fit the pros. Okay. And I gotta get around to watching that Celtic City documentary because I want to know what had happened during the Rick Pitino era. Okay. I read some stuff about the Rick Pitino era, but the full story I don't think is ever really told. Okay. And I haven't watched that Celtic City documentary yet, but I really want to know what truly took place during the Rick Pitino era. So I'm going to get around to watching that soon. Okay. Excuse me. Rick Fox said he's glad he didn't pay for Rick Pitino. Wilkins said Chris Ford was the worst coach he ever played for. So Larry Bird also went on to say about Dominique Wilkins. I had some great battles with Wilkins during the 80s when he played for Atlanta. He was so good back then. There's no question he's a terrific basketball player. But I always felt we could beat his teams because one guy can't beat 5 guys, and Nique always died trying. Okay? Yeah. So I don't think his entire career with the Hawks, Celtics, Spurs, Magic, okay, I don't think he never got past the second round in all his years in the NBA. I think they were eliminated in the first round in '83 by Boston. They lost in the first round 1984. 86, they lost in the second round. 1987, second round. 1988, second round. 1989, first round. 1991, first round. 1993, first round. 1995 with the Celtics, first round. And he was with the Magic in 1999, his final season in the NBA, and they lost to the 76ers in the first round. Yeah, so all of his years in the NBA, he never went past the second round, okay? He never went past the second round, and that's what Larry Bird was talking about when he said, I always felt we could beat his teams because one guy can't beat five guys, and Nique always died trying, okay? Bird also said that the Hawks, while the Atlanta Hawks leaned on Dominique Wilkins, the Celtics leaned on each other. Okay, don't get me wrong. In addition to Wilkins, they also had Spud Webb, Tree Rollins, Cliff Livingston, John Battle, those guys. But where did the help really come from? Okay, where did the help really come from? So yeah. I remember when they did acquire Moses Malone and Reggie Theus prior to the 1989 season, okay? Yeah, I remember that. They did sign Moses Malone and Reggie Theus for the 1989 season and still lost to Milwaukee in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Oh, still lost to the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So, yeah. He still averaged 18 points per game with Chris Ford. Okay, he still averaged 18 points a game. He feuded with Chris Ford though, as you just heard, and he fell out of favor with the fans. Okay, and Bird also had a couple of more quotes. He said the Celtics were very lucky because by then the fans had turned on Dominique Wilkins and it was getting pretty ugly. I honestly felt sorry for Nique. He's not a bad guy at all. He just got set up to be some kind of savior that was never going to happen. Okay? Especially when you're 34, turning 35 during the season. So yeah. It's just as well they never asked me about Nique because I would have told them it was a big mistake. From day one, I knew there was no way that would work out. And it didn't. Yeah, it didn't. And so, yeah. Also, so there was a short lockout before the 1996 season started, okay? There was a short lockout between July 1, 1995 and September 1st. It's September 12th, 1995, okay? So it was a real short lockout, okay? And so that kind of got me to thinking, what if that lockout had lasted longer? A little bit longer, okay? What if that lockout lasted a little bit longer? Would the Bulls would have gone 72 in 10? I think that, you know what? That's a question we'll never know the answer to, okay? That's a question we'll never know the answer to. But there was a short lockout during the 1995 offseason from July 1, 95 to September 12th, 1995, okay? So there was a short lockout. The season obviously got started in time. Rodman got traded to the Bulls during training camp, okay? And the Bulls went on to have that spectacular 72-10 season. But kind of makes you wonder if the lockout lasted a little bit more longer, then that 72-10 season probably would not have happened, okay? But again, that's a question we will never know the answer to. That's a question we'll never know the answer to, right? All right, that's it. That's all for Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am out of here. May God bless you all. Peace. Bye.